Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate the Star Wars stories 1 minute at a time. The Star Wars stories, the Star Wars movies, but this is a Star Wars story. And I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
That would make me Alex Robinson from AlexRobinson.fun.
And I'm Heather Antos from a galaxy far, far away.
Oh, thanks for that's a big commute. So thanks for making it back today, Heather.
You know, on this train here that's only 55 miles per hour. It does take some time, but
yeah, I can imagine. It's a
long
time.
time.
Get some reading done, get some
podcasting. I got to catch up on all the minutes. Yeah.
Well, speaking of being on the train, that's where Beckett and company are in minute 32 of Solo, a Star Wars party. 32 starts with Beckett opening the hatch, and it ends with the range troopers. They're walking in their big white boots. So
they're made for walking.
They were, yeah. It took me a minute to not a minute. This is not the full minute of the movie. It took me a second, I guess. It took me a little bit to figure. Actually, scroll that back a little bit. I will say it almost took me a minute because only at the end of the full minute here, when they're kind of walking up, did I realize, like, oh, okay, the boots are belonging to these troopers that are coming in. When we first see the boots, it's just like we see our crew, and then suddenly we see boots, and it doesn't, to me, seem the first time through that, oh, this is somebody else approaching, this is somebody else entering the fight here. I thought just like they had done this thing and now they put their boots on to do this other part. This is another part of the heist. But obviously I've watched it again and I now know what's going on, but it took me a second. I feel like it was like the language of film there wasn't conveying what we needed to know.
I think that's attributable to the Ron Howard, Lord Miller schism that happened.
The Ron Howard effect.
Yeah, no one did the coverage of showing when those people were actually walking. They assumed the other team had gotten it. So
I was going to say, yeah, was that part of the 80% that Ron Howard reshot? Who knows?
So since we're already talking about the troopers here, these are what they call range troopers. I learned that in the official Han Solo guide that came out. These guys are specifically trained and equipped, and their whole job is guarding this train. There no other part in the Empire and given that, good job, guys. Like, your one job is stopping the train, and that's it. All it takes to like, oh well, I guess they separated the trains. I guess there's nothing we can do about it. Back to work. We'll get them next time, guys.
That's odd because first of all, they seem very. Their outfits are pretty fabulous for just train guards.
The fur coats, man, those are flashy. I know. I really love the design of these troopers, for sure. But yeah, there's a lot of the logistics of them being train security that doesn't make sense to me. One being that they're just all in the last car on the train and not kind of like
sprinkled around.
You think you'd have like two per car or like every other car or like something like that. But no, we're all just gonna like put them in the back. But I guess that's where we get the range part of their range trooperness. You get to see them shoot really far. So I don't know.
Yeah.
They're called range troopers because they sometimes they cry, sometimes they're happy, they can sing, they can. Yeah, well, if I may step back into my role as Conveyex PR, they're there mainly because almost as a formality. Like, for the most part, this train is in a very secure situation. It's going through tunnels and stuff that are well protected, and it's just this one stretch.
So wasted taxpayer dollars. That's what you're saying. Wasted.
Usually, yes. So I think they're in the back because they're sitting there like playing cards. It's a cushy job. Like, if you do, like if your cousin knows somebody in the imperial government, you can get this. You can get this post. There's like, they barely have to do anything usually, and this is the one time you're like, wait a minute, what? Somebody's on the train. So they threw their stuff on and they have to get out of here.
I want to know, how did they get alerted? I guess maybe there's like a proximity alarm or something for them jumping on the train or something. I'm trying to like.
Well, they open a hatch too to look in, so maybe that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, is it like some sort of secure? Because we never really like know how they get alerted. It's just they're just there.
Right.
So
yeah,
we see boots.
We see boots.
People attached to the boot.
It's funny what you said, Pete, about them being just hanging out in the caboose, because according to the book, they're like the ultra like cool Marine guys who like to. When they meet regular Imperials, they like to intimidate them because they're like, we live the tough life.
Is this like Navy SEALs? Like these are like the Navy SEAls of the Imperials?
They kind of like to, which makes their failure all the more delicious that they just are kind of like, oh,
Well, those boots.
They unplugged the train. What do you want to do?
Their boots.
Who saw that coming?
They're suctioned to the train. I mean, it's not like they can move very quickly. Like,
well, on the other hand, they must have incredible cores because, like, they're on the train and then it goes sideways and they're just still standing there like it's like nothing. And I'm like, I don't care how magnetic my boots are. If you tilt me on my side, my ankles are like snapping, like like pixie sticks. I know pixie sticks don't snap, but you know what I mean.
Well, they can.
But maybe that's why they're so bad is because they can really. Literally just stand on the side of the wall. And
that's it. That's all their training was. It was just how do you stand sideways?
I do like that idea. I want to see them standing all kind of in a line, arms akimbo, like you just had it, and then like as the train goes, it's like one
like
after
a dance,
another,
like a synchronized.
Yeah, almost like an Esther Williams kind of like dance thing where they're swimming, kind of where they're all like 1, 2, 3 going off in a row.
Well, you're the PR guy. You should put that in the new ad.
Like,
whatever the name of the security company is.
That's true. I guess we did talk about that this movie would be really interesting as a musical, so maybe this could just be a dance number, not necessarily
When did we discuss this? When was that?
It was in the waiver. You probably signed it without reading it. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Interestingly, both the other one that we talked a lot about it being a musical was Rogue One. So the Star Wars stories really should have been musicals, I think.
Who's composing these musicals? Did you like get it all? Like who's doing the book? Do you know?
We're just kind of talking through it as we go, and we've got one listener who actually did compose a handful of really good songs for the Rogue One musical.
Nice.
And so it's the problem is, I think, like once a week we're like, this is where a song would go, and there'd be like 50 songs in the whole thing if we're going through it like that. But
some of them could be
a dance number, not a song. Nobody's expressing their wants or desires here. It's just a nice little dance routine.
Well, this would be a great dance. I mean, this one obviously, like this is
Yeah.
I was actually going to say I think it would be a good kind of like I'm thinking like that Spider-Man musical they did. This would be a good opportunity to do like a set piece with people jumping around on wires, and swinging around, and everyone being like, "Whoa, this is like Cirque du Soleil."
That turned out real well for Spider-Man, so I think we should definitely pursue.
I haven't seen it yet, so don't tell me what happens. I don't know what I don't know what's going on.
Then they open the hatch and they say coaxium. It's like Yahtzee. They're like coaxium, and everybody's like, "Oh, you win."
Yep. Very positive. I do like that shot of them all looking down when the hatch opens and their heads are all peeking over the side. Mm-hmm. I do like that.
Lit blue from the coaxium. It's nice.
So he says coaxium enough to power an entire fleet, busting out his Rick Ollier exposition there at that time.
Well, he is, Han Solo's from the place where they build ships, so he's like, yeah, there's enough to power a whole fleet. I know how ships work.
Everything that happens, he has to somehow relate it to a ship. He'd be like, "Oh, coffee." No, they don't serve that on ships, or whatever.
He's like, "This is how I am useful. This is as I provide information."
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I feel like, but to be fair, I do feel like that is a prime trait of most young adult males. I feel like they need to.
Oh, he's Han-splaining.
Yeah, he's Han-splaining. I feel like that's. Him like, yes, I'm useful. Yeah. Yes, I know things. Validate me.
So then Beckett says, or blow us straight to hell, which I thought was nice because this is Han Solo's introduction to the concept of Christian hell, which we know he is a big proponent of, at least in Empire Strikes Back.
He'll see
And he
you
even
there.
mentions hell in Star Wars too.
Yeah. Wait, so do you think that does he become a believer in hell, and does he think that Beckett then goes there, and then later when he says to that deck officer that he'll see him in hell, do you think is he imagining this whole thing where he's there and Beckett's there and the deck officer's there?
How awkward.
He'd have to be like, oh yeah, you guys don't know each other.
Yeah.
You all hate me.
Yeah.
The deck officer's like, what did I do to go to hell? And also, technically, it's not the deck officer. It's the guy who runs the Tauntaun pen who gets
but I think,
condemned
isn't
to
he
hell.
a deck officer also, though? No, maybe not. No.
From a certain point of view.
He's a stable officer.
Stable officer. He's not entirely stable.
Glad you're here to tell us these things.
Yes, so Christian Hell, Han Solo, is going there. I like that. I think it's a questionable decision that Beckett has to speak to Rio in the ship on a handheld microphone.
But no one else does, I feel.
Yeah, that too. But he seems like that should be a headset kind of thing at that point. Yeah, handheld mic, come on. But he's old school that way.
Yeah. And, Rio can spare the hand, so he's...
Oh, yeah, Rio.
By the way,
I think he's
got
just
the
talking to the
headset,
ship.
though. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
That
Beckett
seems
who has
backwards.
the...
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
if you're a
two
pilot,
arms as
if
it
you're a
is.
pilot, you always have a headset.
Yeah.
That's like a rule.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if
Beckett
that,
should really just have more arms. That's the answer.
Well, I wonder if Rio gave it to him just forgetting that humans only have two arms. So he's like, take one of your two arms and hold this thing. And it's like, oh, I only have one left now. So
Yeah.
he's speaking of Rio, he says the joke about the Minoc roast.
Yeah, Rio here, boy. I hadn't realized how I'm enjoying this movie, and I'm involved. I'm like having fun, but I didn't realize how much they really do the kind of like one day away from retirement kind of thing with Rio a little bit here. Because it's just like, what is it? Like, how does it look? Is it a good day? And he's like, best day of your life, my grabby friend. And then, they give him all these little lines of being like, oh, but, can't wait to, well, I guess he doesn't say the Minoc roast is a separate thing than opening a cantina, but
yeah.
But he does have all these hopeful, like, oh boy, can't wait for this to be over and I do this thing.
And just the scene before this, Chase, when he's at the fire and they're talking about like having someone special in your life and like all of these things, like they're just like rubbing it in real hard.
Yeah.
So Minoc roast.
What a Minoc roast. It's I'm trying to think of Minoc roast would be a
my knock roast is better than your knock roast.
Oh, my knock roast. What about our knock roast? I'm trying to liken it to a like who's a pop star? Isn't Saboka a pop? No, Saboka's a TV star. Who's a pop star besides? I keep wanting to go back to Sice Noodles, but isn't there like a
Max Rebo?
I guess so. Like I'm trying to think of like
Figure
my knock
and Dan,
roast,
like
Figure and Dan, maybe but like an Elvis movie. I'm trying to think of like Clambake, the Elvis movie. I'm trying to make it like all right in Star Wars my knock roast, and it would be
what's the band from Visions, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, that like punk band from Visions. I can't remember who played. They played for Java, right? Wasn't that?
Everyone plays Java.
Yeah, but I'm talking about in Visions, Alex.
Oh no, I know. Yeah, I'm saying, right. They were playing for Java. Yeah.
But if there's a band, they played for Java.
I guess Joe Yowza.
I try not to think about Joe Yowza. But yes, my knock roast. I can't tell if I like it or not because it's the taking something that we know and doing it. And why would he? I don't know. I guess it's fine. There's some things, there's some things that people in multiple cultures know, obviously, on this planet. So if you expand the planet to be the galaxy, there's different things that people would know.
Yeah. Well, here's something I noticed, but maybe people didn't think of. He says, you've never been to a Minoc roast in Ardinia. It's nuts. Are nuts canon? Or is being nuts? Has anyone been referred to as nuts before?
Oh, it's crazy.
Or have we eaten, or have we had nuts like the food?
Now I'm Googling Star Wars nuts.
Is Star Wars
Be
nuts?
careful. Be careful with that.
A nut was a type of food which grew on trees.
Oh.
Wikipedia has their own nut page.
This seems like a job for more food and Star Wars letters.
Totally.
A nut was a type of food which grew on trees and with an outer shell, which could be cracked open to access the seed inside. Types of nuts included koja nuts, while areca nut palm trees grew on the planet Scarif. So there you go.
No D's yet.
I love that Nuts also has a legend tab too.
Yeah, they do. What are
We've got some legends about nuts also.
Legend. A nut was a type of plant seed. Many kinds of nuts were eaten by various species. So we got actually more detailed in canon. Who knew?
Yeah, we used to just have legends about nuts, but now we know. Now we have it in a book. And we know for sure that.
Oh my god! Yeah, they have so many different nut tabs on. Welu nuts were an integral ingredient of a Minoc corn. What's the rest of this? Something Minoc related with nuts. It's all coming full circle now.
Wow.
Minoc
with or without
City.
nuts?
There you go. And Corellian whiskey.
Whiskey.
Now wait. So is he saying it's literally like? Do they roast the Minoc with nuts? Is he not using an idiom here? Is he just saying like, oh, you've never been to a Minoc roast? It's nuts. Like and
it's literally nuts. That's what
nuts.
they're roasting.
We roast nuts with the Minoc.
Secret is
Chestnuts
nuts.
roasting. I don't know, the Minocs. Yeah, nuts. There you go.
The use of the word "it's" would make that a seemingly a long stretch, but you never know.
I feel like we've cracked this wide open.
Like a nut. Yeah. I will say, remember that. I will give again. I don't know why I'm playing the other side on all these things. As the Conveyex PR, I will step in and say that in Rio's defense, I do not think that Basic is his first language because remember he had a couple of awkward interactions where Han confronted him and said like hey
Oh, he said
I forgot exactly what Han set him up with. Han confronted him with something and he was just like oh yeah and like had no real comeback. And then that was just. Even if he really, no matter which way he means it, it's like, oh, you've never been to a Minoc roast? It's nuts. Like, so it doesn't seem like he has the words to be as descriptive as he wants to. And I'll maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm reading that. Maybe that's insensitive on my part. Maybe they everybody speaks Basic on Ardinia, and I'm just reading into it. But
have we heard anyone else in Star Wars use the term nuts in the sense of crazy? Because we've heard crazy before, right? I assume.
That wizard's just a crazy old man.
Yeah. It's like, that old wizard's nuts.
Right.
That old man's mad. That's the Peter Mayhew impression.
Right. I can't think of it. I can't think of it.
I also wonder why crazy equals nuts.
Well, that's a whole different thing, right?
Yeah, I should have looked that up ahead of time, but anyway.
Why do we call it nuts?
Is it because your head is a nut? So something about your head?
Anyway,
we'll ask, we'll answer.
Right. Well, this is a good opportunity, like, because we will record this, we'll forget about it, and then, like, people will start tweeting at us, be like, oh, this is what nuts means. Like, what? Why are they telling me? Oh, all right. We brought it up on the show.
Why is everyone tweeting us about nuts?
Yeah. Minoc roast. Hey, going back, now that we're closer to the end of the minute, first of all, back up, my grabby friend. It's kind of a weird, he does have a lot of hands, so I guess it's accurate, but it is a little weird, like we talked about. What is it? My little green friends and my, like, people tend to be,
it's a bit derogatory. Like,
people tend to use kind of the physical description in things a little, maybe too much.
It's better than saying handsy, I guess. Like, it's better than saying my handsy, but like only slightly.
Well, in the as I'll take on the role of the Conveyex spokesman for this one, I will say that Tobias and Rio seem like they're very friendly. So we don't know. For all we know, that is a compliment in his world. In a world where people have a lot of arms, calling someone grabby might be, like saying handsome. So I'm going to give Tobias the benefit of the doubt and say he is not being a racist.
All right. So. I'll buy it.
But then again, maybe I'm just racist against Sardinians. Those Minox roasts, they're nuts.
Nuts. You got to taste it.
Nuts.
So back at the very end of the minute, that we were talking about the boots, talking about the troopers. Right before the minute cuts off, you see they're stalking, they're stomping, they're walking, and one trooper steps directly into the hatch, like he's gonna fall in, but they cut away before he falls in. But I think this they're like stepping, and he steps, and he just steps right into the hatch that they came out of, or not, or one. I don't know. There's an open thing there, and he steps into it, and if they had not cut, I bet you would see him fall. So
wow,
that
makes them even. That's even sadder if that's the case. Sorry, not only we lose the train, but Steve too broke his leg falling in that hole.
Well, I'm also now I'm just kind of thinking because if if the boots are magnetic and the other one is still attached magnetically, like how does this?
Right.
What's happening here?
That's how he breaks his ankle probably, and because he falls into the thing, but his foot
leg gets
attached.
Torn off completely. We don't know. We don't know.
Yikes!
Oh man, that'd be extra gruesome. They come back later and they're like, there's just like a leg in a boot stuck to the side of the train. Like, what happened there? And there's a guy like, I'm down here, help me, please.
Well, you get spider legs. They give him spider legs.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. See?
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone
Old
gets
spider leg Steve. Well, that was the last I had for minute 32. That was my last note for this one.
I'm good.
Heather, anything else specific to this?
I mean, we're really seeing the range. They're moving. They're shooting. The train is turning on its side, and they're still standing. I mean, there's a lot of range going on here with these guys. It's nuts.
It's nuts. They could do it all. Well, I'm trying to transition that into a thing. I can't. Nuts. Well, I brought it. Here's the thing. We're talking about nuts. We looked up nuts on the Wikipedia, and I said more food in Star Wars letters, and that's a reference to a shirt that we have in our shop. Go to StarWarsMinute.com/merch, and I forgot why, but we made a shirt that says more food in Star Wars letters, but the letters, it's in like Arial or something like that. It's not in Star Wars letters. It was a dumb joke that was funny at the time, and I think we've sold like 2 of these shirts, but
have we really?
I think maybe.
Wow.
But we just talked about food, so hey, more food in Star Wars letters. That's one of several designs that are available at StarWarsMinute.com/merch.
Who sends letters anymore?
But go there, check that out, buy some stuff, and we'll meet you back here tomorrow for a brand new Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute!